thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Hey there, welcome to a new Q&A. My name is Caro. I am a visual artist. I paint what you see behind me. I haven't done a Q&A in a very long time, and I asked here on YouTube as well as on my Instagram if you had some questions for me. So today I'm answering to a potpourri of questions regarding art making, lifestyle, sustainability, spirituality, living closer to nature, a little bit more of a slow life, and living far away from my home country. Today I am in my studio joined by my cat friends Gala and Maxi. This video is basically just going to be me here sitting down talking, so you're welcome to put this in the background while you do your own thing. Maybe you're painting, maybe you're organizing, maybe you're cleaning. You're welcome to put this as a podcast in the background. So let's get right into it, shall we? The first question is in Spanish. ¿Cuál es tu mejor consejo para alguien que quiere tener su propio emprendimiento pero no se atreve? First, I want to say I have not read the questions and I have not thought of answers. So I think in this way it's more of us as friends chatting in a regular conversation, not a scripted one. So as someone who has been in this entrepreneurial / small business / full-time artist route for the last decade or a little bit more, so one of the things that has helped me keep my mindset in, I really want to try these entrepreneurship, small business, living out of my art dream, because I feel that anytime we have something that's boiling from within, a dream that we really want to see happen in the world. I don't know specifically about you who ask these questions, but it's happened to me several times in my life that I have a dream and there's something that I really want to bring forth and I want to share with the world, and it's just constantly in my mind. It appears when I'm meditating, it appears right before going to bed, it appears when I'm doing a job or a task that I really prefer not to be doing, and I'm like, instead of doing this, I could be doing X dream that I have. So one of the things that's always kept that spark alive within me and really helped me to really dive and bring your dream projects into fruition has been, I know that it would be harder for me to live with the question of what would have happened if I would have never tried this. You know, like if there's a dream that you have and you never try making it happen, I feel that that question of what would have happened if I would have 100% put myself into trying to make this dream project happen. I think I wouldn't be able to live with that uncertainty or that question. So I would rather try to make this dream project or this dream small business, whatever it is that you want to bring forth in the world. I think it's better to try it and know that the answer might be, hey, it was amazing, it was even more nutritious and expanding than I thought it would be, or hey, this didn't really work out, I tried my best and it never got its wings, it never like lifted itself up from the floor, or hey, along the way I realized this was not really what I wanted to do, so I shifted gears. So I think it's better to have that answer, try something 100%, and in case it doesn't work, I think it's best to know that this was not for you, or this was not meant to be in that specific time, or you changed your own mind or heart around that specific dream. So that for me has been one of the biggest lessons along the way and one of the things that keeps me going. And the other one is I feel that if you are not believing in this dream project 100% and you really dive into it with doubt or fear or anything, just really try and make it happen and learn how to feel inside your body. This is it. I am going to make this happen no matter what. I feel that if we can believe in that dream project, then that passion that we can carry within us is what inspires other people to really see the beauty in this dream of ours that we have. So I feel it's a lot of learning how to trust that this dream project that you have is going to be great, not only for you, but for the world. And thus it becomes more easy, and it's like inspiration is contagious. I feel that anytime that I see someone that is living with so much passion for something specific, dude, you can sell me anything. You can sell me tissues if you're fully connected and passionate about creating this small business tissue brands. And the last thing that I want to say regarding this question is I feel it's sometimes easier to romanticize how living out of your dream projects looks like, but in reality you won't be motivated every day, you won't be inspired every single day, things won't flow every single day, because that's life and that's the way it goes. And I feel that we need to train ourselves to be disciplined. And I feel that discipline comes above of inspiration or motivation. And I low-key want to make a whole video about this topic, but those are my little 2 cents regarding this topic. I feel I could go on forever. I actually have a video on the 10 biggest lessons that I learned in 5 years of being a full-time artist, and I'm going to link it in this video's description in case you want to check that out. Before I keep answering some of your questions, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace has been the virtual home of my website, online shop, art portfolio, email campaigns, member areas, and so much more since 2018, and I cannot recommend them enough. Squarespace has everything you need to offer services, products, and collect payments all in one place. From consultations, events, experiences, and products, present your offerings with a customizable website designed to attract clients and grow your business. Squarespace and I are partnering up to offer you a 2-week free trial, and once you're ready to launch, you can use the code Caro Arevalo to get 10% of your first purchase of a website or domain with them. Now, let's go back to your questions. The next question is, I have been following you for a few years now and wondering, do you sometimes doubt about your life choices? Is it hard to live slowly when everything is so fast nowadays? I think there's a mix of answers here. I think that more than living slowly, what I've been cultivating in my life this past decade has been learning how to live softer. As a lot of entrepreneurs or full-time artists or artists of any sort might relate to this, I feel that sometimes living slow is not really a reality. Believe me, I only have 1 day off a week. Sometimes I don't even have that 1 day off, and I work 7 days out of 7 days in a week, and really living out of my work. And I don't only mean economically living out of my work, but there's so many moving pieces that go around living as a full-time artist, and painting and sitting down at my easel is not number one. Up until today, unfortunately. Hopefully one day it will be, but I sometimes do work 6 or 7 times a week because I want to make time to sit down at the easel and paint. And I feel that more than living slow, what I have been cultivating in my life is learning how to live softer. I know it's so much easier said than done. I feel this is a lifetime journey, learning how to simplify and at the same time not putting all of our eggs in one basket. And what I've been cultivating the most is learning how to live softer. And that, hi Gala, that not only means learning how to be softer with how I show up with my work, but also I may be doing the exact same things in my schedule, but I am approaching them from a different mentality or perspective, or even just the shift in how I speak to myself. In 2015, me and my now husband went to live for 3 months in Loitos, which is a beach town, surf beach town in northern Peru. And we decided we're gonna take 3 months out of our life to just live in this tiny beach and create art. And, you know, I brought a big roll of painting paper and my watercolors and my art books, and he brought his typewriter and his guitar and his computer to record some songs. And we were, each one of us, deep in our own creativity, but this was supposed to be time to relax and enjoy. And somehow if I was not in my art studio in the beach at 10 a.m. painting, I felt like I was failing and I was a disaster and I was not worthy. And even though we were in this very secluded beach house, perfect scenario to just paint and do art, my own thought process and the way that I was speaking to myself was so violent towards me. You know, I was trying to be, as we were saying in the first question, I was trying to really put discipline above everything, but there is a way to be in your painting table by 10 a.m. and not speak to yourself in such ways, being like you're so unworthy and all these negative thought process towards myself. And what if one day I am there at 10:10 instead of being there at 10 on the dot? So I feel that living softer has been a lot regarding not only bringing more softness into doing things slower, but actually learning how to meet my necessities. Last year has been a very big year for me about learning how to eat 3 meals a day, stopping my painting or whatever it is that I'm working on a specific day to make lunch or to heat up lunch or organize myself in order to have lunch ready beforehand so then I can devote more time to whatever it is that regards my art life. And in that sense, I feel that softness has been the number one thing that I've changed in my life, and I do not regret that at all. Of course, I feel that along the way there's been a lot of trial and error. And when I started realizing the importance for me of having a morning routine and how much it shifts my schedule, yes, at first now I regret, like I thought I needed a 3-hour morning routine in order to be in the right mindset to work, and I might have been losing time, when nowadays I'm like, hey, I'm showing up to my routine in whatever time I have. So maybe instead of doing a 20-minute meditation, today I'm going to do a 5-minute meditation, and instead of doing a 1-hour yoga, maybe today it's a 30-minute yoga or a 20-minute yoga. And I had 2 very scary episodes with my scoliosis last year. I was bedridden twice last year for almost 2 weeks each time, and that really taught me that yes, it is a lot about slowing, but it's also a lot about organizing and softening. So in that regard, I feel I am still learning how to soften and slow down, but it's these paradoxes in between. I am cultivating so much more time in silence, in nature, in my day-to-day life. I moved out of one of the biggest cities in the world, New York City, in order to live in a small town surrounded by the mountains and the river. And our neighbors are the deer now. And I feel that has definitely helped so much, not only my inspiration and my art, but my well-being in so many levels. And I don't regret that at all. And I used to have the dream of, I don't know, being like this big artist. And there's a part of me that still has those dreams. But I feel that what now comes for me above everything is well-being and is family and friendships. And for a lot of time, that was not my objective. And I am thankful for those years because they showed me, and it was a Caro that put so much infinite amount of work hours into building her art and her vision. And I feel that was necessary for me to just mature and grow up to be a woman that nowadays prioritizes health and family and friendships and timing nature above everything else. And I don't regret that at all. Maybe if I would have fully 100% focused on only building my art career rather than focusing on healing a lot of my illnesses and, just learning how to be connected more to my parasympathetic nervous system, maybe I would be a bigger artist, and maybe I would own a house, and maybe, I would have all these things like fame and art solo shows in Chelsea and in LA and in London or whatever, but I wouldn't change that. A bunch of years ago, I took the decision of that dream will come second. I think that what is most important is to really focus on the fact that my worthiness is not in my productivity, and I am not worthy depending on how well known my art is. I would rather be fully happy in my heart, in a healthy body, than having all those things but have no friends, have no family, cultivated life, and not have health. And I would never change that for anything. And as I was saying, I'm still learning how to balance everything. For years I've been like, no days off, I have to keep going, and I'm still so connected to that, you know, like most weeks I have one day off, and the others I have no days off, because there's so much that goes into running a small business by yourself. And I am still learning how to integrate, and I'm still decoding my mind that productivity means more success. Because I honestly, even though I say maybe if I would have never stopped and I would have only 100% worked, my art would be more well known. But I feel that a lot of the spirit that my art carries is softness, slowness, nurture, connection to nature. And a big part of my work, I paint plants and mushrooms, so the biggest part of my work is communing with plants and mushrooms and sitting down in plant meditations. And that's why it's so important for me, and something that I truly love to share, cacao circles or plant meditation circles, or let's paint a plant, because I feel that becomes such nourishing space, such nourishing friendships with our non-human kin. And that is the essence of my work. So I actually don't think that my work would be even more well known if I would have not really paused to commune with plants and to spend time in nature and to soak in the rhythms of the season. So, okay, me estoy yendo en floro. I'm like going down the rabbit holes that are not the answer to these questions, but I guess that the short answer would be no, I don't regret it at all, because I feel this is not only nurturing me as a human being, but also nurturing my art in so many levels. And as I was saying, like, it's not that I'm, you know, waking up at 11:30 a.m. and just painting 1 hour a week and not having a care in the life and spending the rest of my time in the waterfalls. That's not how my schedule looks like. Most of the times I'm up by 6:30, at the least 7 a.m. and I work all day. I do pause to eat, but then I spend the nights with my husband and our kitties, but the rest of the time I'm working. And that includes meditating in nature. That includes hiking and taking photographs of the plants and the fungi around me. And anyways, I feel that I don't regret softening at all, because I am not my work. I am not a machine here to create artwork. I am here to become a human being in whatever that means for me. And yes, I would love to have like financial security and own land and so many things, but I think that whenever those things arrive into my life, thanks to all the effort that I've put into creating, and every dollar that I make comes from my art making, and I feel that whenever that happens, it will be even more worthy. So one thing at a time, one day at a time, I am learning how to make peace with myself, and I feel that I would never change that for no art show or no title or no gallery representation. It feels so good to be able to say this, because I'm learning how to make peace with myself. I was a teenager that was not at peace with herself whatsoever, and I feel that's one of the main reasons why I do YouTube, because I don't only share like art tutorials, you know, I share so much of my life. And I feel that if I was able to get out of that depression loop in the one I used to find myself as a 14-year-old, then I know there's a way for most of us, if not all of us. Thank you for this question. I never reflect on that, and it feels so good to do so. Next, I have a question that says, "Hi Caro, Dani here, Brazilian artists. We met in New York in a cacao ceremony you held. Love your work so much. I'm starting to make videos about my artistic process. I'm struggling a lot with time management. Content creation is taking most of my time, so there's no much time left for working the actual artworks. How do you manage your time between content creation and making art? I love this question because, believe me, Dani, I'm trying to find the answer myself. I feel that a lot of us go into content creation without actually realizing how much time it takes, and it takes so much time. And there are a few things that help me make it not only more fun, but more ease into my schedule and not last 1,000 hours in content creation and then have no time to paint. I feel that it's important to know that just as any job, it will take time, but at the same time, keeping the mindset that content creation might someday bring some financial revenue or opportunities or networking into your life. So knowing that all the hours you're putting there are also in one way or the other nourishing your art practice, and maybe one day help you pay for your art supplies or any other things. ¿Qué pasa, Gala? That being said, something else that I realized a couple of years ago was that one of the reasons why content creation was taking me so much is because I wanted everything to look clean and pretty and organized. So right before filming, it would take me a long time to, make my art studio pretty and barrer, como dices, barrer, and sweep and, get everything ready. So I feel that the more that we learn how to organize our lives, in the sense of organizing your home or your art studio and keeping it clean on the regular basis, then it's easier to see your studio clean and organized and then start filming right away, rather than having everything be a mess and then all of a sudden be like, I wanna start filming, but it takes you 40 minutes to clean before you do that. So I think content creation has shown me the importance of being more structured and being more organized and more disciplined with organization in my studio. I feel that for years I've been very organized with my schedule, but not as organized with keeping my art studio and my home as clean as I want it to be or as organized as I want it to be. So I'm still in the process of learning that, but slowly it's becoming more of part of my routine. And the third thing, which might contradict a little the one that I just said, is bringing a sense of wabi-sabi into it all. I know I have a vision for wanting things to look a certain way and the shots to be a certain way, and that is wonderful. I feel that's a very big part of filming or content creation, having a vision and trying to make it as real and as true to trying to make our video or photos as true as the vision that we have. Isabel Page has a beautiful interview regarding this topic, and I love seeing how much she has a vision and all the trouble she goes into making it happen. But then again, her product is the video. She's not creating paintings that take 2 years to make, so kudos to Isabel for being able to put all that work and really being able to translate her vision into her final video. But for me, one of the things that I've been cultivating is knowing that instead of doing 30 different shots for a 30-second video, I am making peace with knowing that I'm not only creating a content creation product, video or film or whatever, I'm also creating a painting. So I make peace with putting my camera in one corner. It's fine if the background doesn't look as organized, as pretty as I want it to be. And it's okay if I don't have 30 different shots from the same painting that I'm doing. I'm just gonna move my camera a couple of times and then know that what I'm trying to focus the most is in my painting. So bringing a sense of wabi-sabi into that. And I feel that something that also used to stop me is I wanted my kitchen to be perfect and my everything to be perfect. But I think that's also setting unrealistic expectations, not only for ourselves, but for the people that are interacting with our content. And I think there's so much beauty when we share our lives as they are, our art studios when they're messy, our kitchens when the dishes are still on the sink, you know, because we're all human and we all transition the super organized best version of ourselves and then this is the best I can do right now. So I think there's a beauty in bringing a sense of wabi-sabi, but as I started these, I'm still learning the balance in between them, and if anyone has the answer, let me know. This next question is a mix in between two questions that were very similar that I get asked, and it says, how do you stay motivated in times of doubt or fear? What gives you hope right now? The first thing that popped to mind while reading these two questions was a poem by poetisa Nikita Gill that says, everything is on fire, but everyone I love is doing beautiful things and trying to make life worth living. And I know I don't have to believe in everything, but I believe in that. I feel that is one of the main norths, one of the main things that keeps me hopeful and excited and grounded. Just really making time to connect to my loved ones, and not only people that I know, but people that I follow or I subscribe to or I admire or I love what they bring forth into the world. I feel that in times like these, whether we're talking about when the world seems to be devastating and on fire and every part of the world hurts more than the other, or if we are in an inner battle and the fire seems to be coming from within, I feel that paying attention to the beauty that a lot of humans are bringing into the world is what really gives me hope. Being completely honest, sometimes in moments like pretty much the world since 2020, there's so many moments where I doubt myself or I feel silly doing artwork when the world is on fire. And I feel that what brings me back to why it's important to do that is because when I see other people creating and making their dream projects happen and sharing from a place close to their heart, is that I regain my inspiration and my hope, and I remember the beauty of life. So I know that if that's the way that I feel when I see other people creating beauty in the world and art that has a soul, then I know that my art might do the same for others, including for me when I do it. So I feel that's one of the things that keeps me hopeful and keeps me excited to create. And the other is not only the beauty that humankind is making, but also the beauty of nature, the resilience of nature, the teachings from the natural world. I actually have a post that I made on Instagram, I believe 2 years ago, that I would love to share with you. And if this resonates, great. If it doesn't, in 1 ear, out the other. And this post that I did December 2023 says, Gala is destroying my art studio, sharing what I can't stop thinking about. Thinking of Gaza and replaying the brave journalist videos in my mind non-stop. All the children, all the thousands of people murdered. My heart breaks thousands of times. Thinking of the indigenous leaders being killed for speaking up to protect nature and their territories from oil companies invading them in Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, and beyond. Thinking of all the innocent people who died on October 7th after Hamas's attack on the hostages who haven't returned home yet and the ones that never will. Thinking about the Peruvian Supreme Court annulling the judicial process for the forced sterilizations that happened during the Fujimori government. Thinking of Congo and the millions of killings in the name of expropriation and extraction. Thinking of Hawaii. I don't know a lot and I understand very little. Thinking of Black Friday sales, offering products using child labor and underpaid people in sweatshops with illegal working conditions, products polluting earth. Thinking of heavy metals in our drinking water, pesticides, glyphosates, PFAs in our period products, and genetically engineered food which poison us. Thinking every day, all the time, about human trafficking and especially child trafficking. Thinking how far we've gone as a society, forgetting our connection to nature, forgetting we are one. It all comes down to a group of people wanting power, profit, and pleasure over human lives. The value of a human being's life is above everything, and this should go without saying. How did we come to live in such an upside-down world? It's also important to recognize I'm part of the problem in so many ways. Writing these on a phone made with cobalt and using a car that needs gas regularly. The collective suffering isn't new. Bombing for profit and oil isn't new, but the lives and nature being lost today are new. And it goes without saying that this shouldn't happen anywhere ever. It feels heavy and infuriating to think we should be better than that by now. We should have learned by now. Divide and conquer is the oldest trick in the book, but here we are, fighting one another while those in power keep profiting. Thinking if there's anything we can actually do. How not to lose hope and instead keep our faith strong. Does calling representatives for a ceasefire actually change things? Does voting change things? Does trying to only buy what we need and doing it from sustainable products made by small businesses change things? Does praying change things? Does reading, learning, discerning, and hearing people's testimonies change things? I don't know, but I do believe everything is worth trying. I do believe all our actions and prayers change things. I believe the least we can do is try and truly believe our individual actions matter. I believe in the power of small daily actions, communal actions, and massive actions. I believe that we truly make an impact by how much we check on each other, reach out to our loved ones, and truly hear them out. Offer a hand when we can, and remind others of all the beauty on earth. I believe that if those who want profit above lives and above a thriving planet aren't resting, then I don't want to rest in creating a world that aligns with my values. I want to believe we can create a world where we all remember every human's life is more important than profit, and Earth is more important than profit and momentary convenience. Earth's flesh is our flesh. I am reminded of how long our fungi and plant kin have been on this earth, millennia before us humans. They see our species destroying and burning so much, so divided and lost, and yet they don't resent us. And yet they share their wisdom with us so openly, so lovingly. They hold us, heal us, teach us. Can we be more like our plants and fungi families? Can we remember how to be patient and try our best always? Can we remember to share, pray, call, inspire, root, bloom, flower, and sporulate more loving kindness onto this beautiful world of ours? Just like the waters, we have cycles, times full of positive outlooks and feeling powerful to heal Earth, and days when we feel devastated and small. And we're all here to keep reminding each other how to lift up, how to focus on loving kindness once again. So one of the main pillars of a lot of different indigenous cosmovisions is the knowing that we are all one, that we are one being, one God, one being that consciously decided to divide itself in a gazillion smaller beings. So when each one of these individual beings, us, forgets about our resilience, our capacity to change things, our capacity to love one another, our capacity to envision a new dream and bring it forth together, we remember one another. So I feel that in times where the world feels devastating I am reminded of that, and I am reminded of pretty much everything that I wrote there. And I feel it's not easy times that we are living. And I'm always trying to keep one foot on earth. And I am a very sensitive person, and it is very easy for me to get lost in the devastation. And at the same time, I know that that is not serving anybody. I will always keep learning about the truths of what is happening in the world, the unfairness, the injustice, the devastation. I'll always keep asking myself, where are the products that I buy coming from? Who are these people that I am buying from supporting? How are they using their dollars? What are my products made out of, and where will they land once I'm done using them? I feel that is now my motto of life, and it's been for more than 13 years now, and I think I'll never change that. And at the same time, I want to keep creating art because I feel it reminds me of how would a healed earth look. I was a year ago talking to my friend Hila, who she's a rapper and she makes songs about nature. She dresses as Planet Earth and raps in her Planet Earth costume. And Hila and I were talking about sometimes as creators, she a rapper, me a painter, we feel that the artwork that we're putting out in the world is art for a world that is already healed. I feel that my paintings are paintings for a world that is healed, a painting that loves nature. And I've asked myself so many times, should I be making paintings about how the oil is contaminating the Amazon? And maybe one day I'll do. But I feel that my job nowadays is to bring forth the dream of this healed worlds that we can come back to or bring forth in our future. So I don't know if that even answers the question, but those are the little 2 cents of ideas and thoughts and heart that I have for how do I stay hopeful in a world that can feel so devastating with a lot of reasons. So that's a little bit of it. There's a couple more questions that I would love to answer, but I also don't want to make this video last forever, so I'll be quick with them. The next question that I saw that I felt very called to is, what 3 books do you wish everybody read? The first one that comes to mind is We Will Be Jaguars by Nemonte Nenkimo. It's a book that I read last month and I absolutely loved it. If you've been here for a minute and you know a little bit about me and my work, you may know that I am very passionate about learning from different cultures and different cosmovisions and learning from indigenous nations. And it's been so eye-opening to hear Nemonte's story. Nemonte Nenkimo is a Waorani woman from the jungles in Ecuador, and she and her partner started Amazon Frontlines, which is an NGO that protects the rights of the Amazonian indigenous peoples and the land. And this book is Nemonte's memoir. It's her story from being a little girl and being indoctrinated and taken out of the jungle to be Christianized. I don't know the word in English. But yeah, follow the Christianity religious, and then turning away from that and coming back to really connect to the importance of the traditions from her community up until Amazon Frontlines. And it's such a eye-opening book. It's such a heartfelt written book. It's full of moments that will give you hope, they will give you rage, they'll teach you a lot about what goes down in a community that probably only the people from the community know, and also the beauty and the value that indigenous knowledge has. It's been one of my absolute favorite reads of all time. The second book that is coming to mind is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and I'm sure that a lot of you here have read this book. It's an absolute love letter to Earth. It's a book that speaks to two of my main loves, speaks about our connection to nature, to our plant and fungi and animal kins, from a scientific, from a physical, and from a spiritual lens. And Robin makes such a poetic, beautiful, heartfelt, powerful, empowered approach to our inner nature and our connection to land and nature. And I absolutely love this book. I have the audiobook and I love to listen to it over and over and over again. I've read the other two books by Robin Wall Kimmerer, Gathering Moss and The Service Berry, which I absolutely adore, but there's something about braiding sweetgrass that touches every single bone in my body, and I know I'm not alone in this. So braiding sweetgrass is the other one. And the third book that I wish everybody would read is a difficult one because there's so many. I am an avid reader and I'm gonna think about it and probably get back to you in our next Q&A. Then I got a question that I absolutely love, which says, what are some Peruvian small businesses that you love? And there are so many. I grew up in Peru. I moved out of Peru when I was 23, and I have a lot of friends that nowadays have small business brands there. And one of them is Nuna Sisters. This is a clothing brand owned by my friends Mariana and Chio de Vivanco. They are sisters, Nuna Sisters, and they have a sustainable brand of clothing. I absolutely adore the clothes that they produce. They produce it in small batches. It's sustainable. They most of the times hire artisans from Peru to work in them, whether that is adding details to the clothing. I own this one-piece swimsuit by them that has all these little bead work on it, and this was made in partnership, I believe, with an artisan house of women in Cajamarca, which is one of the provinces in Peru. Love Nuna. Some of their clothing is biodegradable, and it's just one of my favorite brands, not only aesthetically how it looks, the design, how it fits, but also the themes. I have this one piece of swimsuit, which is from the Amanceas flower, which is a flower in danger of extinction in Peru. They have a whole collection about endangered species from Peru. And they're just absolutely such a vibe. The way that the clothes are made, the heart with the wonder made, all the artwork is first hand painted by Mariana. We met in art school. And then the supplies, you know, like the cotton or whatever materials it's made out of, it's always thought with sustainability at its root. And that is my heartbeat, sustainability. So Nuna Sisters, my friend Justo, who is from Cusco, he owns Apu Hats. It's a brand of traditional hats made in Cusco, not only by him, but he partners up with different collective of artisans from Cusco, and their hats are absolutely beautiful, just like Nuna. Justo is very devoted to sustainability, to working with artisans from Peru in Peru, and also he is bringing back to life and keeping alive a lot of the traditional ways of creating traditional hats from the Andes in Peru. And I feel I could talk forever about Peruvian brands. You are all inspiring me to make a whole blog post on my website or something, just sharing so many Peruvian brands that I love. So many more that are not coming to mind in this moment, but there's just so much beauty in Peru and the artwork that comes from it. And making my blog from Peru in December last year has inspired me to, next time that I go, just share a whole video sharing about my super talented artist friends that live in Peru and create artwork there, because there's so much to share there. And the last question that I wanted to touch base on today, because I don't want to make this video last forever, is one that says, who are your favorite illustrators? I feel this could be a whole video in itself. Let me know if you want to see a video and a deep dive into, I wouldn't say my favorite illustrators, but rather my favorite artists in general. The first one that's coming to mind is Ritika Merchant. I hope I'm saying Ritika's name correctly. I love the cosmogonies she creates, the storytelling behind each one of her paintings. A lot of traditions from her family and her culture are shared in her paintings. This year, she had the opportunity to share her work for a special collection for Dior. That was amazing to see. If you've seen Rosalia's interview, Dior, I think that was from Met Gala a couple of years ago. Today I'm wearing Dior. Okay. Ritika's work is absolutely amazing. I had the opportunity to see it live last year in London, and I am obsessed and I love her, and I feel that my work and her work would be friends in a parallel reality where watercolor paintings could befriend one another. Second artist that's coming to mind because I'm sharing about Dior is Sara Flores. Sara Flores is an amazing visual artist. She makes arte quené. Arte quené is a traditional type of artwork exclusively made by the Shipibo Konibo community, and she is a Shipibo Koniba woman, and her work is absolutely amazing. Icaros are not only songs and prayers, but they're also the visual representation of prayers for the Shipibo Konibo culture, and arte quené is exactly this type of artwork. And Sara is an elder from the Shipibo Konibo community, and her work is not only stunning, but it carries such a deep meaning. It carries the cosmovision from her culture. It carries the essence from the jungle. And I say talking about Dior because Sara Flores' work was highlighted by Dior earlier last year, and I just love seeing beautiful indigenous art being celebrated and honored the way that it should be. And who else is coming to mind? Sebastian Wall is one of my all-time favorite artists. He works with collage and resin and creates this beautiful mandala cosmogonies as well. And his work is absolutely breathtaking. The technique and the detail, attention to detail is pristine in Sebastian's work. All the cutting and the layer up and layer up and layer up and layer that goes into his paintings is mesmerizing. I've had the opportunity to go to a few of his art solo shows when I used to live in New York City, and I believe he might have one coming up because I've seen him create a bunch of new pieces this year, and he shares a lot of insights to the process of his work through Instagram doing time lapses. Who else is coming to mind? I absolutely adore the work of my friend Megan Boyd. She makes beautiful, mystical portal paintings. I don't know if you can see this round yin yang rainbow right here. That was made by her. It's a little box that she created. I have one of her prints in my art studio, and I've had her art in my home even before we befriended one another. I met Megan in person at an all-women's gathering 2 years ago, and I absolutely fell in love with her. And as she says, she fell in love with me, and we became art friends and sisters ever since. And I've been to LA and I've visited her a couple of times, and she's one of my dearest art friends. I feel that artist friends are one of the most beautiful types of friendships that I've ever known, and Megan is such a beautiful artist. I love the way that she represents nature and human connection and the feminine and the witchy, mystical aspect of living on Earth. And who else? I just have so many artists that I love, and I'm blanking right now. But anyways, I am blanking on artists that I love, I guess because right now I'm in my studio and I'm surrounded by my own artwork. So I just let me know if you want to know more about the artists that I love, and I'll take my time to actually sit down and think about them because it's so many of them. Anyways, thank you for joining this Q&A. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Remember, we have a discount code for you. Thank you for being here in my channel. I hope this was a little bit inspiring, and feel free to give this video a thumbs up or just press that share button. You have no idea how much that helps with engagement, which is a very big thing for us creators on the internet. Feel free to actually share this with anybody you feel will be inspired by it. And let me know if you want to see more Q&As. I do pretty much one a year because I guess in my perspective it's a little bit boring for you to hear what I have to say, but in case it's not and you want to see more, just let me know. And let me know if you want to see specific videos of anything that I've talked about today. I'm here, I'm on YouTube. I post 2 videos a month, sometimes more, so feel free to subscribe to this channel. I'm also on Instagram, and I have a Patreon, which is $5 a month, and it's sweet and beautiful. So I'm around in case you want to check some stuff out. I do workshops in New York City and upstate New York in case you're around too. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and that this was a little bit nourishing for your heart and your creativity. Okay, bye.